Hello, hello everyone, I'm Jeremy Geckner with the Front Row Movie Reviews, and this is your weekly box office report with stats and tidbits from our friends over at BoxOfficeMojo.com. Well, as expected, it was the Guardians of the Galaxy topping the box office for a second straight week. In its second week of release, the Guardians added another $63 million to their total, bringing their domestic cum up to 246, and coupled with the opening of its last international market in Japan, its global cum now stands at $630 million. And while that does seem like a lot after 10 days, the original Guardians made $773 million worldwide, and we've got a lot of time left in its run. It's only 10 days in. My guess is that it's going to exceed that, and it's going to become the #1 film in the Guardians franchise. Number 2 and 3 are the ones that give us the newcomers to the box office this week, though both vastly underperformed from the standards that they were wanting to achieve. Coming in at the number 2 spot was the Goldie Hawn Amy Schumer comedy Snatch. This thing made $17.5 million in its opening weekend, and while that is well below what most of the industry experts were predicting, its $42 million budget proves that it might actually still be a profitable movie with marketing rolled in at the end of its entire run. Coming in at number 3 was King Arthur Legend of the Sword, and this one has to be considered a massive disappointment for the studio. It made only $14.7 million in its opening weekend, and this thing had a $175 million production budget. Double that for marketing and such, and you can guess what this thing has to do to try and clear some money. And you might think, oh well, most of those other films like this kind of make their money back in the international market. Well, not so fast, because this thing's only made north of $60 million in its first week of release, both internationally and domestically. I gotta think that this one's got a very, very bad bomb title heading its way. Coming in at number 4 in its 5th week of release was The Fate of the Furious. The 8th film in the Fast and the Furious franchise added another $5.3 million to its domestic total, bringing it to a $213 million domestic total so far. And while that doesn't seem like a lot, well, couple it with the more than $900 million it's made in the foreign box office, and it is now standing at $1.193 billion. That's right, this thing is going to clear $1.2 billion next week, and just wrap your head around that for the 8th film in a franchise. And rounding out the top 5 was Fox's animated feature The Boss Baby. In its 7th week of release, it added another $4.6 million, bringing its US domestic total up to $162 million. And this thing has far outpaced every kind of box office prediction that was put on it, and this has got to be considered a big win in the early months of the summer for Fox. A special note this week is Disney's live-action Beauty and the Beast. In its 9th week of release, it just barely misses the top 5, coming in at number 7 with another $3.9 million. Now, why is this significant? Because it brings its total in the US up to $493 million, and it has a legitimate shot next week or even the next to become a member of the very rare $500 million US domestic club. Only a handful of movies have ever done that. It looks like Disney's live-action Beauty and the Beast is well on its way, and it now holds a more than half lead over the next closest domestic grosser, which is now Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Let's see how far this thing can go. I'm Jeremy Geckner. Hey, head on over to the Front Row Movie Reviews. You can find all of our box office reports, all of our quick minute reviews, and all of our podcasts. Today, in honor of Alien Covenant coming out this week, we are releasing our flashback on Aliens. Scott is joined by some very special guests, and it is going to be a great episode. I'm Jeremy Geckner, and as always, we will see you in the front row.